All right, it is my contention that this was a setup from the beginning. And you're going to go, yeah, we know it's a setup. But it's not what you think. It wasn't a setup by the Democrats, it was a setup by Trump, right? The Democrats are just so stupid, they think they set it up. A couple of days after Comey got fired, who goes in to meet with Trump? Robert Mueller and Rod Rosenstein. Now, he's told them that the lamestream media and everybody else that it was about the FBI job. But as we know, that's a total load of bullshit because Robert Mueller had already been FBI director for 8 years. The standard term for an FBI director is 10 years. He could have only been an FBI director for 2 years. What's the point, right? Trump knew from the election campaign what the game plan was. Hound Trump about Russia bullshit during the election campaign, hound Trump about it during his whole presidency, and, you know, wear people down and people just say, oh, I've had enough of this, vote him out. Not because, we don't like him, but just because we're sick of this and we don't want to hear it anymore, right? Cast out for his whole 4 year term, right? So what happens is this. He calls Rod Rosenstein and Robert Mueller in for a meeting, right? And of course, Admiral Mike Rogers has just spoken to him after the election and told him about the whole Spygate and told him about the tapping of his election campaign offices in Trump Tower and who knows what else. So, right, President Trump's, of course, the president now and he's armed with all the information. He tells Mueller, we'll organise a special counsel because he had no reason to do it. There was no crime and no predicate for a crime. But, right, organise a special counsel, and he tells Rosenstein to appoint Mueller as the special counsel. And Trump goes, you get a few indictments to make sure it looks like you're doing the job and deep state off your trail that you're turned or you're working with us or whatever. And of course, the Democrats are going to trust him because Mueller is a deep state operative from way back. And Trump says to Mueller, look, if you don't do this, you're going down for treason for being the bag man delivering the uranium to the Russians as part of the Uranium One deal. He was the bag man. Mueller was on the tarmac, right? So Trump's got him over a barrel. And of course, Rod Rosenstein was the attorney in Maryland during the Uranium One scandal. He's got him over a barrel too. So the beautiful thing about this is this has been a setup against the Democrats the whole time. And you're going to say, well, yes, Rob, why wouldn't Trump just get in and he could have got in and declassified all the documents in 5 minutes and he wouldn't have had to go through all this and this would be over and done with. Well, the beautiful thing about this is the Democrats get to argue a hoax against their political opponent for 2.5 years, knowing that they did it. And then all the evidence comes out proving that they're just absolute bald-faced liars and treasonous. And not only do a bunch of people go to jail, but the Democratic Party gets discredited and permanently destroyed for a long, long time. And Trump gets the one of the biggest electoral landslides since Reagan Mondale in 1984. And they get to put all the laws that they wanted to put in for years, like the healthcare changes and eliminating the lines and putting competition in healthcare and getting rid of Obamacare completely. Hopefully, the Internet Bill of Rights and free speech and breaking up of big tech happens, and Hopefully the law goes in where big tech companies lose their immunity, because that's a disgrace. The beautiful thing about it is, after the fraud is proven, the Republicans won't sue the Democratic Party, although they'll have a huge right to, because of the fraud that's being perpetrated on Trump and the Republican Party. Members of the public will do it. Organisations will do it. The Democratic Party will be completely destroyed and maybe even deregistered. And of course, once Assange gets back, a murder investigation into the DNC will begin, and the DNC will be completely and utterly destroyed. And Donald Trump will get the credit for destroying a political party that's been around for whatever, 250 years or so. So, yeah, that's what I believe is going down. Mueller will get charged with putting false evidence into the Mueller report and a few other things, and he'll get a few years, but he won't get charged with treason. And Rosenstein will get charged with signing off on the falsified Pfizer agreement. And he'll get a couple of years, and he'll testify against a bunch of other guys and work with the government, and he'll get a couple of years, but he won't get charged with treason either. That's what's going on. Now, I could be completely wrong, but seems pretty obvious to me. But now I want to talk to you about the Australian stuff. George Papadopoulos talking about, Alexander Downer and how he was used as a pawn and agent for the CIA in the setup of George Papadopoulos to get into the Trump campaign, and he was. But what you're soon about to discover, ladies and gentlemen, is Australia is much bigger in this than you think. Australia was one of the main perpetrators, the main partners. Malcolm Turnbull was a scumbag, and Obama had some discussions with Malcolm Turnbull, and he agreed to do this. But not only does this involve former Foreign Minister in the Howard government, former London High Commissioner Alexander Downer, this also involves Attorney General of Australia George Brandis, who ironically is now High Commissioner of London, the replacement for Alexander Downer. Now, if you don't know the Australian system, you're going to be asking me, why does this involve former Australian Attorney General George Brandis? Because nothing of this scale gets ticked off without the approval of the Attorney General, and also former Foreign Minister Julie Bishop, right? That's why Julie Bishop resigned late last year before the election, or very early this year, right? Because she knows what's coming down the pipe. She's involved in this up to her neck. The foreign minister has to approve something of this scale as well. So I'm not happy about it, but the Australian involvement in this, my government's involvement in this, is very, very big and very, very deep. I think it's bigger than Italy's and almost as big as the UK, if not bigger, to be perfectly frank. I think we, the Australian government, well, not we, because I'm not part of the bloody government. I'm certainly not part of that mob. They're globalists. But I think us, the Australians, possibly had a bigger involvement in the spying part of the operation than the UK, because we're less obvious. We're minnows. We're little Australia, thousands and thousands of miles away. We wouldn't get involved in something as big as this with as big a stake as we had. No way. Bullshit. We're right up to our fucking necks in this. Right up to our necks in it. And a lot of people are going to be shocked. And a lot of people in Australia are going to be shocked once they find out how big of an involvement Australia had. Little old Australia, hey? Little old land down under. Not so innocent, are we? No, 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 no. Not anymore. 30 years ago, you might have been able to find Australia on a map, you guys. But you're going to know who we are. Our names are going to be in the spotlight. You're going to know who we are big time. As an Australian, I'm just appalled and disgusted by this. And two of our governments have given indirect money to terrorist groups, Australian taxpayers' money, and also, and I'll find the article for you, Julia Gillard, our former Prime Minister, gave $300 million to a Clinton Global Initiative, which we didn't approve of, we didn't sign off of, because she was guaranteed a cushy job on the Clinton Global Initiative Foundation, right? Which ironically got shut down. So we got nothing out of it, and she got nothing out of it, and Australian taxpayers lost $300 million. I'll give you a hint, we've never gotten that money back. Australia has a bigger history in all this sort of bribery, corruption, and globalist bullshit than you might think, despite us being such a small nation and so far away from this stuff. But I believe that our former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull might go to jail. Our former Foreign Minister and former High Commissioner of London, Alexander Down, is definitely going to go to jail. And possibly our former Foreign Minister, Julie Bishop. So, the old land down under has got a big stake in this, ladies and gentlemen. That is all.